Beautiful. Right, let's get started. Perfect. So a few things today. Obviously, we're going to have property management. We've got debt collecting, and then also. So did you want to start?
Yeah, you're selling some buyers at MIS. Debt recovery, we have put up this property management. Okay, as with debt collection, we discussed at the beginning of the outstanding. With this product, we can early day 4 in a week, or what a person's still on the property. To that property, getting them back in track while they're in the property. Alright, so you don't want to get that back. Get that stage of, say, for example, they've been vacated or you come up from that property, which we can do for you. We can look at recovering that money. Okay. This is about how we can be involved in that property. Actually, can be summed up in 2 parts. We've got the preventative measures and the collective. Okay, the preventative measures, we have our own tenancy database. It's free for real estate agents Australia-wide. We give the brief and you guys should be able to take the information you provide. Okay? With our tenancy database, of course, we can only list people over 2 years as per legislation, yada, yada, yada. Okay? In regards to that 3 years, anyone who's in a debt with us, okay, we have information that I tick your NTD data, vice versa. So if you've got access to that database, more abilities. As I said, Guard Australia-wide, representing 4,000 agencies. So we in regards to that. And in regards to our debt recovery, we also deal with a lot of lower type of people as well. So have all sorts of payment plans, everything that make people pay for, obviously it takes time. In regards to preventative measures, you guys will get access, property managers, support services, i.e. arrears estimates, emails and letters when you want them action. You're not sending stuff off to us. Get that, then waiting for us to move on and get going. You guys can log into your part, your own unique part of our website. Okay? And send the information when you want on our part. In regards to that, you can get contacted 9 times out of 10. They're going to call you guys. They're not going to call us. They're going to call you. What the hell's going on in regards to this? You've got the option of good copy, bad copy roll, so you pick acting shoes on. Okay? Bad copy roll, being by told you we have 0 tolerance, ship out. Or your good copy roll, where you just the landlord's there, but they will really over. Terminal payment to me. So keep a good line of communication with you guys. You're doing them the favour whilst they're still in that property. You might say, hey, well, we send out our own information to these people who are overdue. What happened? That's great. Of course, you should be covering your bases. But if you're doing that to them, we guarantee you every other real estate agent that's in, that you get SMSs, same emails, same a little bit different when it comes to debt collector, third-party pressure, which you guys are requiring. Okay? With these services as well, you guys can use it as a backup for you. If you don't want to get the hit from a certain person, you put that information through us and we have. We have an arrears phone call because we fill a form online, depending on what the scenario may be. Let's say, for example, cascading water or what have you. We fill out the form online, give us as much info around that scenario, i.e., invoice bill, so that gives us more ammo to approach them. And we bring them up and say, hey mate, Dave, whatever his name is, how you going? What's going on with this payment? Oh, it's got nothing to do with you. Well, it actually does have something. Again, taking the angle from you guys, directing it back towards us. Okay? Against third-party pressure. Okay? Let's say, for example, those preventative measures might not have worked. The person's still behind in rent. It could have decreased the amount that they are behind, what have you. But you yourself and the landlord said, no, we want to get rid of this. We want to. Okay? What you would do is obviously you would all your T's and C's all the way through. Okay? Go to the QCAT, what's that warrant of possession? We cannot attend, obviously, QCAT for you. That's the first one you have to attend that warrant of possession themselves. You then notify us in regards to having obtained that warrant. We're going to be in contact with this person throughout the whole period, letting them know what's going on. When you get a date from the police for that warrant of possession, we will be independent. You guys will not turn up. Again, taking you guys out of that fine. Okay? With that as well, if we're there on the day, let's say there's $1,500 and over that have been low, we will arrange a renewal and sort of the items at no further cost to the landlord. And there is no cost to the real estate with this institution. It's all paid by the landlord. Conditions selling for they haven't been evicted, they've been vacant property or have you. Any money that sends to that property, we will look to recover those monies under the eviction clause. In regards to recoveries, we highly recommend your goods. In this day and age, it's just highly recommended. We still approach people without it, but everyone's in the stage. They can look up and find the rules. And with that court order, that gives us legal enforcement. So once you obtain that legal order, put the recovery through to us, we can then take these people in court. If they do not turn up to court, we'll put an arrest warrant out. Half the people that we deal with, that alone is enough to get them to come and pay an arrest. It's that credit ratings and so on and so forth. Okay?
When is that arrangement based on the elections become out of the full recovery or only after you're doing only the 10 of something on okay, you get 5,000 and like 5,000.
Unless the landlord approves that, we're going to do this landlord one. So what happens, let's say for example, we don't do that. Landlord no, everything general sense, that's what we're doing. And when it comes to recovery, for example, we are getting payments when we do put the money through to you guys first. You guys can then just get the landlord, just in case you let it from there. Right. 100% Australia what? So we look like sometimes what we would in sort of recovery, we can take what they might go in the private sector, they might be couch surfing, what have you. But they do stick their head up eventually. If there is money in spend, I don't care that they take 6 months. We find that all this. Yep. So we get calls. So we don't offer this service to private landlords, for example, because that would just be stupid. We stick to have a certain system which they follow in place by real estate. We get a lot of one-off recoveries come through from private landlords, okay, which can be like they had someone who left the property years ago and they want to get their money back. Which they look, we'll have a go at it. The older it is, the harder it is to get. Normally we say we can.
So, like that,
and we are already at 100%.
So when you call there was
so in regards to insurance, I brought up because the fact of the matter is everyone should have an insurance. Okay, it's just straight back. Everyone should have it. I'll just quickly divert straight away. I'm going to say in regards to landlord insurance, it is good, doesn't always pay out, doesn't always pay out in full. It doesn't pay out in full, it says we can pick up the shortfall, okay, but we're not double dipping. So we need to be notified of that. When the recovery gets put in place, in our website, it doesn't probably have landlord insurance. Put that information in there. We follow up to make sure that we're not double dipping. Because obviously that's not really good for anybody involved. So we're going to be very. So we do have some plans. Again, some private animals we get stuff to say. There's once the recovery is fine, please. But they have to know what they need to do. So we're not going to do your recovery unless you provide with these details. Okay. I'll quickly go over that. As I said before, we did one-off recoveries. That is a completely different type of stuff to that $66 subscription. Okay? With that one recovery, we charge an upfront list fee. Now, let's say, for example, it's a $3,000 that we're recovering, it falls into the bracket. Now, so we charge an upfront list fee of $302.50. Then we take a further 22% of what it's recovered. All orders involved with it, we are not here to link anyone up. In fact, further legal costs, all our list fees, all our fees. As you can see by list fee charges and so on, it's a lot more beneficial for that person to have the $66 subscription in place. In regards to the subscription side of things, guys, we do want all subscriptions, commercial, story shares, all that type of jazz, any type of work we can make. Okay. Alternatively, we have a one-off recovery as well. Quite simply, it's a tool you guys to be able to use it. Okay. Well, so I'm going to leave this also here for you guys. Have a look through in your own time. My contact details on it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. There are no stupid questions. I'm the king of stupid questions. So you can challenge me if you want. In regards to recoveries, we do have telecommunications and so on, but if we cannot make contact with someone via phone, email, what have you, we are going to be able to do it. Okay? I guess family members and friends, what have you, if we have a hostile location or someone, we can do it, especially if support drops and so on. Awesome. No worries, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Anytime you get more happy to do us. If anyone has recovery, walk away. We're out to fluctuate between 78 and 5, 6. Okay? And as I said at the very start, we deal with a lot of people who are on penalty. Okay? We have them, it could be a $4,000 debt. You could have them on $20 for them. That's all you can get. You take them in court, the magistrate will sit there and go, well, no, it's for the home, you can't even afford that. So anyway, if you give that $20 a month, we will sit on them until that falls paid. So when it says recovery comes to us, it's a tip and flick for you guys. Okay? We work the whole thing. That person's got paid, so you've got to get them back in. So back in actual, we get them back on it. And I don't care if they started at council, they've got all nothing but how we do it. Right? No worries, guys. So, as I said, then we start to see about them. Anyone have a look at the website, keep the call, set up webinar, run to that. No worries, guys. I'll be careful. Thank you. All right, guys. Did you want to? Yeah.
This entry report, if you think about the minimum cost entry report for a one-student property, and then hours doing an entry report that you're looking at how actually works out before the sales value So how you can basically think of it is that, okay, well, that lens your budget for everything. I got here, so then really, when you make it, this entry report really for 3 to 4 years now, I think we should be approximately 7 pages report. It's going to be about 1,000 bucks. The report itself, I think we're doing that for probably weeks. Yeah, you need to be thorough. So I recommend you know, I think it's the guy on the other day and okay, are you there? Okay. You need to type in that. Every stop, every everything behind the door, and it's also going to be told and you have not mentioned yes, everything has to be recorded that there is no hole behind that door. Every inch, for example, so we're going to so you could have done it. So say for instance you go to the property, the walls are perfect. I recorded stuff the wall behind the door and the tenant has gone the door and I put this hole in the wall and door handle and they're going, oh, they're only moved in and you haven't recorded on the floor. It wasn't there. There was no photos from it. A clean wall, unburied, the wall. And unfortunately, you're saying that's not to happen and then that's all the documentation.
Then say you do that part. When do you think that the
No, say they cause it themselves. No, not when they move in. No. I'm talking about along the way. They cause it. Or like the half of the tenancy, they have a hole behind the door. But then you go down, the agency, oh, you do that. No, I didn't. No. So when they move into the property, they'll record any difference. So right then the wall is perfect. Halfway through the tenancy, they put a hole in the wall. When they move out, because the agent didn't take a photo or record the condition of the wall behind that door, the agent can't prove that the hole wasn't there when they moved in. And they can never prove it. Oh, we're there and you And then it's also because it's fine and the one that will definitely that's because of management. So they go in the middle. To do that, so my business was that solution basically you can do it really that you can sell. You resolution sections. We also offer recommendations for landlords that any property as well that might include it's not just a case of, oh yeah, everything's great. It's, it's very great. It's different. These ones starting to upgrade, things like that. So the landlords can take that. What they want, or just upgrade. It doesn't make it tough. It's just something but they know that there are areas that can surgery. Not nothing related. Just purely how can we improve and improve their productivity. Yeah. The less time, basically, what they're on their time, or enough, we have more phone calls to return and point out to couple that out. The more time the legislation you can't do it more than 4 years, but a lot of agencies can't do it. So it comes down to your preference. If you're paying for it, if your landlord paying for these things, some are expecting all these into the landlord. That's what the landlord comes. I think it's probably okay or 4 months, 4 weeks. I don't know if it's as many, but as a tenant, it's quite a lot, and probably an issue every 3 months. Before it fixes, it's very yes. So generally, it's about 3 months. Is that okay? Yeah, I can do that. I'll know. That's fine. We'll speak to you later. Okay, so at the moment, our average, at the beginning, our offering offers a few different types of rentals. So starting at general rental, so this is a normal tenancy agreement, full-time agreement. Minimum lease is generally 6 months. So we offer it at 8.5% fee, and then you can charge for photography as well. So I just put the top in here, the average is 95. Generally, we don't pay for online advertising with realestate.com and domain. Yeah. The let fee is usually 1 week's rent plus GST. And administration fees, you can pop in $6 or you can leave it as 0, whichever you prefer. Yes, depending on your landlord. If you have multiple landlords, you can offer them less because they are bringing on more properties.
However, this is the benchmark across Brisbane at the moment. Up to you. Yeah. Got to think about it at the end of the day. Having an income, having an income of $10 a week from a property that takes you 4 hours a day of work, whether with maintenance or landlord paying. Yes, you can. It can be adjusted to however you want. But at the end of the day, you do have to give a cut to Oxbridge. So you've got to minus that. How much time and effort do you put into that property every week? So you want, at the minimum, probably 7.5 plus GST is worth your time, effort, and heartache. So tenant selection, so we use Kicker online search, which can include credit and police checks. So generally it's rent collection and arrears management, inspection. So if you're on a 90-10 split, you'll need to complete all these tasks for your portfolio. Collection and lodgement of bonds. So when you collect the bond, you'll need to lodge that, I believe, the Oxbridge office does that for you, but it'll need to be lodged to the RTA within 10 days of receiving it into the trust account. Yeah, so you just have to make sure it's done, but Oxbridge at the moment are doing it for us. Yeah. So there are a number of tasks that Oxbridge do as part of, I guess, the 10% split. Yeah, so the bond lodgement goes directly from Oxbridge to the RTA, but it's good practice to check that off your list. You know, if you're keeping a folder at home with all the tenancy information, tick the box that the bond has been lodged and this is the bond number from the RTA for if you need to call and confirm the details or change the bond from one person to another. You'll need to record the bond lodgement number, and especially at the end when you want to claim all of their bonds because they have left the place in a foul condition. Basically the day that they move out, if you know you're going to come into problems, rent arrears, rubbish, cleaning, you claim all of their bonds straight away before they do. Otherwise, you have to lodge first, I believe. So if you claim it first, they have to lodge against you to go to QCAT, and it costs them money to lodge a claim. Whereas if they put in all of their bonds first, then you have to lodge to QCAT to challenge them, basically. So the best practice for you, if you know you're going to have problems, is to claim all of their bonds when they move out. Compliance, so I believe Oxbridge take care of the smoke alarm checks. So when someone moves into a property, the smoke alarms must be checked for working ability. When the lease is renewed, either 6 months or 12 months, the smoke alarms must be checked at that point in time as well. Maintenance, repairs and renovations. We have Well, you can if you want. If you have like someone that you know that you already work with, you're more than welcome to use whoever you like. But Oxbridge can help you with maintenance people, whether it be plumbing, electricians, builders. You just send an email to support. You know, Oxbridge already know your tenant's details because they'll be able to log in and see and to manage. We're still using managed at this moment, yeah. So next is rooming. So this is, for example, in a 2-bedroom apartment, each room is rented individually. So you can actually increase your management fee for this style of rooming. So 12% plus GST, I believe, is the average. Again, you can charge less fees if you want, but this is sort of where you make your additional income on top of your management fee. It's the 1 week's rent plus GST. So the most of the tasks are exactly the same. However, each room has its own lease agreement, and each person within that room is responsible for that room. And then the kitchen and lounge area becomes common space. So each person in each individual room has their own lease agreement, and you can charge high management fee. And in most times, you can actually increase your income by renting each room a little bit more, because it generally includes bills as well. So you could make an additional $100 income a week by doing rooming style accommodation. You may find you have higher turnover with students that only want 3 months, but you're still earning that extra, $50, $100 at the higher rate. Sometimes rooming, depending on the property, is a better solution. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know about what you guys do, but I would have them all sign an entry condition report that's for their room and for the common space. So whether people are coming or going, they still are presented with the same entry condition report, one for the common room and then one is for their bedroom itself. So, when they moved in, there was no holes in the wall. Everyone signs the same entry condition report. You may need to adjust it at different times for if somebody does create a stay. Then you just get the remaining people to initial the change, or you'd have it remedied. But they would sign the same basic entry condition report that everyone does if you were renting the whole apartment in its entirety. If they all say they didn't do it, but in the entry condition report that single item wasn't there, then if nobody wants to come forward, then they're all responsible. Too bad. It could be the same situation with one lease and 3 people on the lease, and they all say they didn't do it. Still the same thing. If the entry condition report states that mark or that stain on the floor was not there, and it is now, then you just deduct it evenly out of the bond unless someone puts their hand up. At the end of the day, that's not your problem to figure out who's made the damage or whatnot. You just got to cover yourself, like Lindsay was saying. For Ascot Terrace, I have 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom property. About 500 photos. It's furnished, so I'm taking photos of how many saucepans there are. I'm taking photos, take all the saucepans out, photograph the bottom shelf of the cupboard. People put saucepans in, you can get the rings on there. Just every single thing. Turn all the lights on, take photos that all the light bulbs are working. It's a tenant's responsibility to make sure that when they leave, any light bulb that's out, they must replace, and anything like that. So if it's furnished, make sure you take a photo of the back of the chair, the front of the chair, the legs of the chair. Got to think about every scenario that could ever happen. You want to prevent being stuck in a place where you're fighting whether it was there or not. Just do the most thorough job you can do, and then they can never come back and say it was already there. Yes. Clean up after yourself, So then you've also got hotel and short-term management. So this might be an Airbnb type scenario. It's not going to work in every property, but if you're in a city area, this might work for you. If you team up with a company that has corporate clients that fly in and out of the state and are just here for work, they use the property very minimally, but again, you can charge higher management fee. And you can charge higher, it'd be per night in that instance. So per night could be $200 a week. And, if you have added extras like pay TVs included, your Wi-Fi is already connected, you're providing them with, they can do dry cleaning service, you know, just little extra things like that. Again, this is probably your highest earning income option, but it doesn't work for every property. So at the moment we use, is it Aon? Aon landlord insurance. So landlord insurance, I don't actually sign any managers unless they have landlord insurance. You have to have landlord insurance. In this market currently, you know, you have quite a high turnover of international people and students, so they'll literally leave the country and, you know, could leave the whole place with all their furniture. They could leave it not cleaned and they'll just leave the country and there's not anything you could do. So having landlord insurance is the best thing that you could do and, recommend to your landlord. So I generally don't even take on management unless they have landlord insurance. So you want to make sure in this day that it has rent arrears. You want to make sure that it has malicious and accidental cover for damages. You want to make sure it has some type of pet insurance because 60% of tenants have pets now. So if you have a dog that's moved in and they've chewed all the walls in the house, some insurance companies won't cover it. So you need to make sure that they have a clause in there for pet damage moving forward. Yes. You can for now. But very soon, I believe, it's basically going to be discrimination if you say no to pets. Sorry, yes. So you need to just basically have a script in this situation. If it's an executive style property and they have 3 dogs and 2 cats, or we've accepted a family, or we've accepted someone who the landlord would prefer or whatnot. You don't even have to say that we have. You don't. You don't actually ever have to give a reason. Yes. And you will get a lot of people that are angry about that. And, what can we do? We can pay a month up front. We're perfect. I've had people very, very, very angry and leave bad Google reviews based on you declining the application. They're already bad tenants. So I'm glad I made that decision. So in saying that, my experience is that people who look after their pets like kids are sometimes better tenants than tenants with 100 children. So, yeah. The reference that you get from their current tenancy is the best weapon to know whether they are reliable tenants or not. That rental reference, make sure you talk to the current property manager on the phone because they won't put things in writing sometimes, but they'll tell it to you on the phone. Mm-hmm. So talk on the phone first and then back it up with, can you please send that to me in writing? I guarantee you they'll tell you things on the phone that they don't want to put in writing that you need to know. And that's the vice versa for you. You need to be honest and tell other property managers that they're about to take on a nightmare because you've got to look after each other in this industry. Yes and no. Yes and no. They just keep getting declined. So another tip that I've realised is on Ticker. You go onto Ticker, there's an actual tab, I can't remember what it's called. You click over and it actually shows you how many Ticker searches have been made against their name ever. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. If you go on there and see that recently they've had 6 Ticker searches from 6 different real estates, that's a red flag that they've been declined 6 times already. Or they're applying across 10 multiple properties and you're wasting your time basically. So you've got to be an investigator now and a property manager. Ticker is a national database search. So yes, we can, the support does that for us. Yes. So you send support, first, last name, date of birth, mobile number, a picture of their driver's license or their passport, email and current residential address, and or Medicare card, and it will check Australia-wide if they have been blacklisted before for arrears, if they've been to court, if they have abandoned a property, if they were doing illegal activities, it will show you in there. So that is another defense against accepting bad tenants. So number one for me is the reference you get from the current tenant. Chica search is the next. And then making sure they can afford the property is really the third major thing that I look for. Making sure they have like money. Yes, please. Yes. Ooh, I actually don't. I would say that would be the case. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, which makes sense because you're taking on more liability the more people that you're putting into the property. Because yeah. Yeah, because rooming and Airbnb is such a new thing to come into property management, you may have to do a little bit of research on top of the major companies that already do, like Terry Shear and all those sorts of companies. Yeah, but then I found some of them don't cover malicious damage. Like some companies don't cover malicious versus accidental and pets as well. So you've got to, if you're going to know that you may at some point may have rooming, it'd be worth inquiring against two different insurance companies. Yes. Okay. Yeah, because it was a grey area really until very recently of people looking at other options. Normally, yeah. Or like My Connect, like your utility connections. I think it's mostly those two. So we use one form that is directly integrated to realestate.com.au and Domain. So it's predominantly online application process. It's all digital. Tenants upload their payslips, identifications, and all that sort of thing, and it adds in the property's address and information automatically when they click on it from a property listing. So it automatically infills all the property information. And if you're listed as the listing agent on that property, it'll automatically come to you in your inbox and says you've received an application. So it's great if you need to decline an application, you right-click on approve or decline, and it sort of gives you a little pro forma email, and you can add a little bit extra on there, and it sends a decline email straight out of one form to the applicant. You can do your ticket search straight out of one form as well if you want to. It inputs all the information straight out of the one form application. So it's all online. Some people do find it a bit clunky. I have an application in a PDF that people can print out and just fill out as well. But if they can do it all through one form, say they're applying for 3 different properties, they just have to do the one form once with all of their information, and they can change it for each property, and it just gets sent through. So for the tenants, it's nice and easy. They fill out their information in one place, and then they can add different properties, and it will shoot out to all the different agencies. Yes.
Awesome.
I've done up an Oxbridge application. I don't know if you guys have one, but I did one with our logo, and it says, you know, if you're approved within 24 hours, you must pay a deposit. That's one of the most important things because people applying for 10 different properties, very, very, very common. You're approved, they love it, you never ever hear from them ever again. It happens to me daily. It's a genuine nightmare. So I don't ever take the listing offline unless they've paid the 2 weeks deposit. and secured the property, and then you can remove it from the internet. Never before that, because the amount of times that people, love it, can't wait to move in, yes, you're approved, I called them, never hear from them again. They've been approved somewhere else. So you must get the deposit within 24 hours. Yeah, I've just written down. Okay, so, I don't know if we refund within 24 hours. So yes, they must pay a deposit. It's really up to your discretion whether you refund them the deposit or not.
And that's legal.
To not give it back.
Yeah.
Really? Is it? No, it's not. I don't believe so. If they paid you bond, you have to give all the bond back. It's up to your discretion as far as I understand under the legislation whether you give them the 2 weeks back or not. Really depends how much they've stuffed you around.
Yeah. Bring the time.
Yes. Yes, that's probably the amount of times that I've had to give back a deposit in the 10 years that I've been doing property management is probably 2. So it very rarely happens. People aren't going to pay you hundreds of dollars unless they genuinely want it, and that's when you know they're a genuine tenant and they're not going to run away. So general tenancy agreement, so it's your normal lease agreement. So in here will be all of the name, address of the tenant. One thing I generally do in good practice is provide a copy to the landlord. Don't forget to write out the tenant's email and phone number when you send the landlord a copy. You do not want your landlord ever calling your tenant without you knowing. It happens more times than it does. So what actually happens at the top of the agreement, you'll have the landlord's first initial, last name, care of Oxbridge Property Group or real estate, and it will have all of that information. You don't actually put the landlord's email or phone number ever. You'll just have their initials, care of Oxbridge at rentals@oxbridge.com.au, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have your tenants' names, phone numbers. But when you email a copy to the landlord, a lot of landlords appreciate a copy, even if they don't want it. You say, here is a completed copy for your records. Always white out the tenant's information. Because then that opens you up to the tenant, the landlord calling the tenant, can we come and do some maintenance? And then the next minute the tenant's calling you because the landlord's on their doorstep. Like I've had that happen a lot of times. So on here I have the start and the end date. How the tenant should pay the rent. Basically, I say to tenants, you can pay weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, as long as you're never, ever behind. It's really the same thing. Standard terms. So standard terms, the lease agreement, I believe, is usually 10 or so pages long. There's a large excerpt in the middle that basically just has legislation upon legislation upon legislation. If you ever read it, read it once, but I generally don't. So any special terms, so dogs or pets allowed inside or outside. It'll have on there whether the tenant has to pay water, whether there is any solar agreement. For people that have solar systems, they get a rebate from the electricity provider, which then they have to relay back to the tenant. So generally that means that the tenant only pays, I think, a quarter of their electricity bill when they have solar panels. But having a solar on your roof sometimes is more trouble than it. Is that for water?
Yeah.
No. So to have a whole thing of water efficiency. Charging for utilities. Water. Okay. Yeah. We'll skip water. Oh yeah. So water. Okay. So saying to charge water. The property must be water efficient. Must be done by a professional. Where the taps and
with a regulator, which minimizes the water flow in the property. There must be done professionally, there must be a receipt provided or a report provided with your if it doesn't have any of it, then it's not so generally, it is a black or white. In some properties where there is 1 metre, say the owner owns the whole Queenslander, there's 6 different apartments in there, 1 water metre, you may charge, say there's a 2-bedroom, there's a 1-bedroom, you can figure it out where you can charge each by the size of the property and divide it evenly by the size of the property, so the 1-bedroom will pay less than the 2-bedroom, but generally you'll just increase the rent and the landlord will pay all the water. There's a couple of ways you can do it, but generally if the property is built in the last 5 years, it's automatically water efficient. So yeah, anything 5 years and older, you then need to investigate further if you've just taken it over. It's generally a question that I have in my onboarding landlords. Question is, do they have landlord insurance tick? Is the property water efficient or is it individually metered? That's another question you need to ask. Do they prefer pets? So you have like a brief questionnaire that you ask every landlord so you know from day dot what they expect, whether they approve dogs or not, you know, all of that sort of thing. Completely up to the landlord. Yeah, within reason. Yeah. So there's generally an agreement like the solar and accounts usually stays in the landlord's name. You receive it direct to your office and you invoice the tenants accordingly. So same with water, you can only charge a certain section of the water bill. I believe you can only charge a certain section of the electricity if it's solar powered. So, you know, if they've got a pool and it's solar powered and the solar power just runs the pool, then the tenant would pay for a portion of that. And that's all agreed upon within the lease agreement. It will state in the special terms, this is the current, you know, solar agreement. And it can be different with any landlord. They could include it in the rent and bump it up an extra $100. But legally, they cannot profit from it either. That's under legislation, they cannot profit from charging solar. It has to be what's on the invoice, and you generally have to provide a copy of the solar invoice with the invoice that you're sending to the tenant as well. Same with the water. So you black out the owner's information and you put on there, you know, this is how many kilowatts you've used, you highlight it, and I basically just write a little sum at the bottom, this is how much you owe. So as long as you have it all black and white in the lease agreement and it's understood between yourself, the landlord and the tenant, most people understand that they have to pay for certain things when they sign up to properties. If it has, you know, solar, pool, and that sort of thing. So yeah, so it must be WELS rated is what they call it, WELS, WELS rated. So most properties, 5 years and newer, are already water efficient. You can generally tell when you walk into a property and it's got new taps. It's going to be water efficient. Makes your life easier. Grooming accommodation. So this is the grooming accommodation entry condition report that we were talking about before. So a copy of the house rules must also be given that Sydney was talking about. So when someone moves into a property, they must return the entry condition report back to you signed that they agree or disagree within 3 days of moving into the property. 3 days, I don't know, just working days? I say, yeah, I say no. Like if they move in over a Friday, it must be back Monday. Yeah. Basically, it's living in the property for 3 days. Anything can happen after that. So I recommend to people, before they put couches against their walls, before they move their beds in, before they move the large items in, to go through and take your own photos. I don't want a copy of them. Keep them for yourself. I've already taken 600 and I want your photos, so keep them for yourself. Write as much as you want or can on there, even if you're reiterating something I've already written. At least, you know, you've both agreed on the same thing. When you get an entry condition report that is 600 pages long with disagreeing with what you've said,
best practice is to meet them at the house and go through every single item and either cross it out because they've just written what you've written, or add a note and you both initial. So if you come across an entry condition report that completely is against what you've written, you really need to go to the property and meet them and go through every single page, every single item, because this is the only thing that saves you when you go to court. This is all you have. So it has to be done ridiculously overboard. Like Lyndsey was saying, 1,000 photos is not a lot for a 5-bedroom house at all. Rental bond. So we touched on rental bond before. Must be lodged to the RTA within 10 days. It's an offence not to, so you can be fined by the RTA if you don't pay. How much bond can be taken? General tenancies law says if the rent is $700 or less per week, the maximum bond is 4 weeks rent. If the weekly rent is higher, you can negotiate. So it can still be 4 weeks, or it can be 6 weeks, or it can be, I believe, less. So if it's $1,000 a week property, they don't necessarily need to pay all of the 4 weeks. Movable dwelling, the maximum bond is the same as 2 weeks rent. That's for a caravan. So bond loans, you may come across bond loans every now and again. It's really in specific areas that I've come across it. North Brisbane, North Lakes area, Moray Field, Caboolture, you'll come across a lot of people that go for bond loans. So you'll get a letter from the Department of Housing or Public Works, or there are a lot of bond loan companies now, like Easy Bond and all that sort of thing. All you need to do is basically wait for a letter that says the bond has been given to them. And that's what you'll keep, and you just keep the reference number and all of that with you. Really, you don't have that much to do with it. You just need to make sure that you have the letter from the company that says that they have received the bond. Yeah, it's all done in the same way. It's just a mini loan. So yeah, it always goes with the RTA. Yeah, always. Yeah. So it'll go to the RTA normally, and then the tenant will pay it back to the company that they've borrowed it from. Yeah. Yes, I believe Centrelink can help you with your bond as well. So applicants can test their eligibility for bond loans at queensland.gov.au/housing. So if someone asks you, do you accept bond loans? Yes, we do, but we don't facilitate them in-house. You need to go and get it for a third party. Here we are at entry condition report again. So like Lyndsey was saying, for example, this wall here that we're looking at, we've got black stuff down the bottom, you approximately want to say 5 centimeters long. You've got a paint run 2 centimeters long. You've got several, black indents here, silver handle, white sliding doors. You need to go into every single tiny detail, like as if somebody was coming in here and had never seen the property before. You need to describe it down to the little cracks in the paint there. The paint is off-white or white or whatever, the handles are silver, down to everything. You need to basically describe it like as if you're describing it to someone who can't see, really. So from what I've started to do is talk into my phone, and it dictates for you. Sometimes it writes very strange things, like when you say hook, it'll write something very like eagle, I find it writes really retarded words. Yeah, it makes really strange words, but it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to physically stand there and type on your phone. I generally take all the photos, write the major notes that I need to at the property, like massive crack here or whatnot. And then go back to the office, have a one-screen all of the photos, have a one-screen report, and do it by looking at the photos sort of thing. And as you talk into your phone and dictate it, then you've already done the majority of the writing before you go back to the office. Anyone have questions about entry condition reports? Yeah, so tenants must return it to you within 3 days. That is the most important thing ever. So I have a pro forma letter that I write to the tenant if I haven't received it within 3 days. I post it, I email it with a tracker so I know that they've opened it, and I SMS it as well. So basically acknowledge that you have not returned the entry condition report. This basically null and voids anything that you want to add to the report, and the report that you've received stands in its entirety, something like that. It basically says we know that you've not returned the report, and if anything comes up in QChat, that is worth gold. That and the report together. The acknowledgement that the report has been returned, and then they turn around and say, you know, that wall was perfect. Doesn't matter what they say anymore, because they've never returned the report to you. They could say anything, and in court it'll mean nothing because they never signed off on what the property was like when they moved in.
All these 1,000 photos, do you give the photos to the tenant? Okay. Only for your
You don't have to. Sometimes I put it on USB, sometimes I give them on a CD. If they request the copies, yeah, you print it and it ends up being about this fat. You give it to them. So generally, in this day and age when paper is becoming like out now, yeah, when paper is becoming out now, I just keep it on my Google Drive and then I can share the link. You know, when they move out, I provide a copy of the original entry condition report when people move out and the exit report. A lot of people still don't use an exit report and still don't even care if the tenants don't send you back an exit report. An exit report is just as important as the entry, and if they don't return the exit report, that kind of works in your favour because they can't go back and say anything because they never filled out the report. Like it's very interesting that a lot of people and some real estate agencies really don't value the exit report as much as the entry, but they're both basically exactly the same thing. You have to report, you know, we did this damage, we did that. But most tenants want to run away from anything that they've done. They won't acknowledge it in writing, no way, because they're going to try and get away with it. So if they don't return their exit report, you're kind of like, yes. Now I know that anything that you've done, I can get you for because I know it wasn't there. Okay, so we're on to non-payment of rent. What you do when tenants become behind in rent. So basically a growing importance of issues when you're running your portfolio. So non-payment of rent, every office is different. So tenants start contacting within 1 day, but you'll find a lot of tenants will get angry if you start doing 1 day. For me, personally, I start on 3 days. So it depends on the system that you use. You can set up automatic emails and SMS from 3 days forward. So every day that they're in arrears, they'll get an SMS saying you're now 4 days, you're now 5 days, you're now 6 days. I let that tick over until that's 4.5 days. On the 5th day, I start calling them myself until I get through to them or get an answer. I find people respond to text messages because they don't want to talk to you on the phone. So if you send them a text, they'll always respond. Sometimes not even email. Not people sometimes don't even check their emails to this day. If they're dodging you, send a text. You'll generally get a reply. Hey, I told you last week I'll pay when I'm ready. And you're like, I'm going to send you a breach notice. I'm not sending a breach notice. So the property manager cannot issue a breach notice until the tenant is certain the number of days in arrears. That is 8 days. So 8 days in arrears. So on the 7th day, I prepare my breach notices, knowing the next day at 8:30 in the morning, I'll send it out straight away. I'll send it by email. I'll send a text saying, please check your email inbox. You received a breach notice, pay your rent or contact us. Generally, you'll get some type of action in that instance. And they're still receiving SMS, emails, and my phone calls every day on the 6th, 7th, 8th day, including the breach notice on the 8th day. So, and you say to them, this is I love this line, this breach notice is recorded on your tenancy history. So it makes them stand up and go, oh, okay, I can't. And I explain to them, if you continue to get breach notice, you're not going to be able to rent anywhere. This is on your permanent rental history that you have a breach notice. Give a breach notice. You don't have to do it. So when it actually comes up in conversation is when property manager is doing a reference check on them. So you go into their file and you can see they've had 6 breach notices over the 2 years that they've been renting from the agency, yes, they've had 6 breach notices, all 4 rent arrears, and that property manager knows to steer clear of them because they're constantly in arrears.
On your database.
No, so the national database, you generally don't get listed on there unless you've gone to court
Okay.
for arrears, for damage, for illegal practices, for abandonment, for crazy things. When court, then you can lodge on sticker. Went to court, brats, don't ever rent from them ever again. Don't rent to these tenants. So they need to be aware. I find it really strange that most people don't understand that this is on your permanent rental history. You can't hide from it once you start getting breaches. It's just as bad as getting kicked out of the property, really. Getting kicked out of property is the worst, but getting breach notices for damage or anything like that is automatically an X on your file, really. Notice for remedy breach. So you give the notice for remedy breach on the 8th day. They then have a further 7 days to remedy that breach. So 8 plus 7, generally I think is around the 15th day. Yeah. On the 15th day, exactly the 15th, I've done it so long. Exactly on the 15th, you give them a notice to leave. So you've got to follow the process to the freaking date and the freaking T, because if you walk into court and you've given your notices a day late, 2 days late, they basically would say too bad, so sad. So everything you do is, I call it CYA, cover your ass. Because at the end of the day, this paperwork that you've taken time to do is the only defense that you have when you walk into court. If you have everything photocopied, if you have all the photos, if you have, all of your emails and correspondence and, whatever, they'll just say, why did you not pay? Did you not, when are you going to pay the rent? So why haven't you not remedying this? Exactly. And so it'll swing in your favour. If you're seen to be, following the legislation to a T, it'll save you so much heartache in the long run. Okay. No payment of rent. You can start sending, pay your rent from one day, but sometimes over a weekend, people's banks, the money won't come in until 2 days. So I don't start generally from 4. 4 days, something's going on. Either they've got to transfer money, or the bank account information is incorrect, or whatever. So 4 days, I start with the SMS and the email. On the 5th or 6th day, depending if they're a repetitive criminal in being behind in rent, I will start literally calling them myself. Oh, great. Thank you. So then, with the 15 days notice to leave, you'll have it in your calendar that you'll turn up, on the day that the notice to leave falls on, and you'll want to make sure that they're vacated. If the notice is vacated, then you need to go to court and lodge to have them removed. So when you lodge to have them removed, that's when you can opt to have the police involved and be present if they are people that won't leave. You'll need to have a locksmith on site, have the locks changed, you'll need to have police present, and they have until a specific time in the day where if they don't have all their items out, then they forfeit anything they have inside the house. Unless you have in agreement that you can extend for another day for whatever circumstance. So basically they'll tell you every excuse under the sun to not leave, and then before you know it, they're an extra month behind. And then if you haven't followed proper protocol and go back to QCAT, you've extended the time too far, and then they basically can stay. A lot of things can happen if you don't follow the processes. With the landlord. So I've never been to QCAT with the landlord. I'm only the one there. And the landlord won't go, and we don't charge. Even though I have 1.6, I've never invoiced for QCAT. Yeah. And it can be, I believe the fees can be covered by the landlord's insurance too, because it's a situation that comes up. Yeah. If you're lodging 2 key cat, I believe it's like $250 to lodge 2 key cat for removal of the tenant, or God, you can lodge for lots of lovely things. If someone creates a lot of damage and they don't want to pay or they've left, you can gather your invoices and quotes and whatnot and go to court to recoup the fees, all that sort of thing. You go to cat to get people removed is generally the most common, or it is. So this is, if you go to the RTA website, you'll basically find how to be a property manager there if you read every article. So this is like a little flow chart of when the tenant is in arrears, this is basically what happens. So this is directly off the RTA website. So if you ever need any clarification, the RTA is an excellent website to use for any information that you're not sure on. And you can always call them as well. So charging for utilities. So generally the tenants usually pay for electricity, gas, phone and internet. However, if, I don't know, for example, over at Asphalt Terrace and internet is included, so then in the tenancy agreement you tick that the landlord pays for the internet and the tenant pays the zero amount of it. So generally electricity, gas, phone and internet, and our little boxes on the lease agreement where you tick which one applies. The landlord pays for the landlord insurance, any tax and rate, council rate. The landlord is to pay for that. Pretty basic. Water efficiency, we went over that already. Locks and security. So the property must be reasonably secure. So for me, general rule of thumb, everyone who signs the lease agreement is entitled to keys. However, if there's someone on there who's an approved applicant, you don't have to provide them keys. The tenants will have to pay for another set themselves if they are not named on the lease agreement. So you just need to, make sure that landlords understand if they had 2 people and now they've got 4 people, they will need to pay for extra keys, remotes. It can be run into the couple $100, but they can claim it on tax. That's the one little sentence I love. You can claim this on tax. Any expenditures to do with little repairs or things that they're kind of like, why should we have to pay for that? You can claim it on tax. You can claim it on tax. Usually gets you past most things. So obviously all the locks have to be in good working order. If someone is broken into, it's basically an emergency repair and you can get it fixed without the landlord having to approve emergency repairs, like hot water systems, things like that, large water leaks, and all that sort of thing. So when they leave the property, they must return all of the keys that they were provided as well, because then it doesn't provide the next people with basically reasonably secure property, because who knows how many keys are out there generally. So when you give keys to a tenant, it's best practice to either take a photo with your signature and the tenant's signature on there, either on your phone or photocopy in the office if you have access to that sort of thing. You both sign it. When they come and drop the keys off, same thing. Photocopy, sign, and look and match. Because the amount of times that you quickly just accept keys, you're on the phone, people walked in, they're just moving out, whatever. If what I do is actually provide the entry condition report when they're vacating, a vacate checklist on cleaning, the exit report, and a photocopy of the keys that they were given before we even talk about what is missing when they come and drop them back at the office. Routine inspections. Okay, so we were discussing before routine inspections. Routine inspections generally carry out 4 times a year or every 3 months. So if you want to scale that back, that's a discussion between you and the landlord. It can be, for example, if someone's been in the property for 5 years and never behind in rent, the routine inspections are always perfect. And the landlord's like, look, we trust them. We know that they're good tenants. They've proven it. We'll scale it back to every 6 months. So you can do that. But most landlords, if you're going to charge the premium 8%, they're going to expect 4 routine inspections every year. So generally routine inspection for a 5-bedroom house, 20 minutes max is all you really need. You walk in there, check the condition of everything, possibly look under the kitchen sink for any leaks that people like to ignore. You know, look around the skylights for any leaks and that sort of thing. Go outside, look at the roof, see if you can notice any, you know, crazy damage. But it's basically just to make sure that they're not trashing the property. That's it. So every 3 months, on your entry notice, you give a 2-hour window, which means you can go anytime between 9 to 11, or you can provide a specific time. So it's completely up to you. So when I schedule my routine inspection, I send out the entry notice in paper form, also send an SMS saying, you know, to look out for your routine inspection information. I also send a full report on what is expected of that tenant at the routine inspection, which includes cleaning your house. The amount of times that I've gone into a house and, you know, a routine inspection is important because you can walk into a house and it's completely rubbish everywhere, you know, the garden is a complete mess, the grass is this tall, you can actually breach them on that. Like they have not been looking after the property. As per the lease agreement says, they must look after the property in a reasonable condition. You can breach the tenant on, you know, if the mess is creating damage to the property, breach them. However, some people like to live not nicely, but it's not causing damage to the property, you can't really breach them. So it's a bit of a grey area on how much you can breach them on. If it's causing damage to the property, then breach them. And then go back within 7 days. You can go back and do a re-inspection and then, you know, inform the landlord. So you always need to be transparent to the landlord when issues occur coming up from routine inspections. Yes, the tenants were filthy. We have sent them a breach notice and they must remedy this breach within 7 days. Go back in the 8th day, take more photos and provide those to the landlord as well to show that everything has been fixed. Otherwise, the breach hasn't been remedied and you can tell them to leave. So going to the routine inspection is really important in the first year, I believe. Do the 4 in the first year. When a property is for sale, this happens quite often. You've moved into a property and they've put it for sale, and now you're having to deal with sales agents coming in whenever they feel like. So once you move in, the landlord can't put the property for sale within the first 2 months, unless they would like to give you a large reduction in rent, and you can negotiate upon it. If it's, you know, some dice. I've seen a lot of talk with property managers through forums on Facebook about discounting rent or giving tenants $100 gift vouchers or whatnot for every open house. It seems to be becoming a regularity to make sure the tenant presents the house in a nice condition, leaves the house when you're trying to take buyers through. It's just to give them a nice little incentive because that tenant basically can make or break your sale. So if you work with your tenant instead of against your tenant when trying to sell your property, it'll only benefit you in the end. So you can provide a notice of leaseholder's intentions to sell the property. There's also a form to sign if you wish to take photos of the property that are going to be online. You need to get consent from the tenant that their items, you know, will be basically publicly advertised. So that's, yeah. In a 6-term agreement, the tenant can stay until the end of the term, and then the purchaser will take over the property if it's an investment. But the new purchaser can't just tell the tenant to leave. They have every right to stay to the end of the lease agreement, unless the buyer/new owner wants to pay for their moving costs, wants to, you know, give them some type of incentive. I've done that before to get the person out of the property and moved on quicker because the buyer or new owner wants to move in. You can do that. You can negotiate. Oh, that's a great. Okay, so new topic. Anyone have questions on general tenancy? Okay, so growing your rent roll. Anyone interested in this? Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so looking within your 4 walls is basically whoever you know currently, either landlord, tenant, maintenance man, smoke alarm solutions guy. They either A, own a property themselves, B, know someone who wants to buy a property or has an investment property. So working from within out is your least expensive, quickest way to get a rent roll. If you're doing a good job, Imagine that everybody that you come into contact with that day then goes and tells someone about your, the good job that you're doing for their property, for their mum's property, for, their uncle's property. Basically, putting on a good face every day for those people that you come into contact with every day is the easiest way that you're going to build your rent roll. Offering them a referral fee to those people that you consistently work with every day can also help grow your rent roll as well. Can be, it depends on the property. It depends how much the property is worth per week. So generally you don't give a referral until the property is rented. It can either be a capped $100, depends how many properties they bring in. If it's one dad who's, given their uncle's brother's friend the lead, then you might give them $100. Or if it's a buyer's agency company, I cap it at $10 is half of the 10 properties, is half of the let fee. Anything more than that they bring on, they get the whole let fee. So if you're working with companies that have a bit of volume that they can bring in, first 5 properties is this much, any over 5 is this much, or if it's, your mum, dad sort of scenario, they're pretty happy with $100 Coles voucher or something like that. So then you can advertise that fact. Do you know someone that owns an investment property? Would you like to earn, $100 cash? I ran a marketing project that I actually printed $100 notes that look like $100 notes. Put them in people's letterboxes in an apartment building. Do you know anyone, a friend, family, someone who could refer management to us? We'll give you this $100 and it will be real cash. People thought we were putting $100 notes in the letterbox, but they made them pull it out and read the back of it. So trying like marketing like that. Most mums and dads sort of thing are happy with $100. But if you get the volume through, you cap it at, first 5 property, you get half of the let fee. Any more than that, you get the full let fee. Because that continuous business is worth a lot. Other things you can do is listen to conversations on social media. That's what I love doing at the moment. You actually find on instant notice boards, they've got this tenant that's, creating issues. What do people recommend? If you're constantly sort of up to date on what's happening in your area via social media, provide your advice, provide, great advice, great solutions, people will then start to inbox you directly and say, oh, we've actually been looking for a new property manager. You seem to know what you're talking about. You consistently kind of let you know what you're talking about. Before you know it, you have people coming to you. You don't have to pay for advertising. If you cannot pay for advertising, you're already winning. So have some infographics designed around your stats and results. So if you have a Facebook page, for example, my Oxbridge Facebook page, I have little infographics that says, 10% of landlords these days don't know exactly what they can claim on tax, or, our average rental property vacancy is 5 days. And you have that into like a little, basically a picture with your stats and a bit of information. So graphics and videos get more traction than just words, especially social media when people are just scrolling. They're scrolling at 100 miles an hour. If you have a genuine good little picture that has genuine good information that people are interested in, they'll like your page, and then they'll start to see your, what you've achieved, how quickly you rent things. You pop on there, about interest rates. You have information, and then you mix it in there with marketing about you, what you do, what you've achieved. Before you know it, people start contacting you because you seem to know what you're talking about. Publish articles on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is something that a lot of people don't use. It's actually more and more courses are coming out on LinkedIn and how to use that to your advantage. LinkedIn is basically social media for professionals. So so all sorts of professionals that you can align yourself with, like self-managed super fund companies, investment companies, financial advisors. If you have a small group of those people in your pocket, leads straight away, referrals straight away, everyone's happy. And then you can refer back. I've got a buyer who's really interested in buying another property under their self-managed super fund. You've got that contact, they're reliable, you work together, don't even have to pay for it. It's amazing. Okay, So other things that you can do to increase, I guess, leads, increase people, basically what you want to do is have people knocking on your door. That's the best thing. You don't want to have to be cold calling people. You know, in this day and age, if you're cold calling people, you're kind of going about it backwards. Like cold calling is probably the last resort for me now. Focus on your property's listing quality. Love it. Professional photos go beyond words. You could have 5 sentences about an exact property. If the photos don't represent what you're saying, nobody's going to turn up. So having professional photos is the best thing that you can do for your property, even if it's $200 a week, because you get to keep them. The landlords can keep them. It depends how, like you can either take on the cost or you can get the landlord to pay. Again, claim it on tax. Again, they can just say to them they can keep the photos. You know, if they leave, you take the photos. You pay for it, they're yours. But they come in handy more often than not. So most people with rental properties, I find, don't read the fluff. You may as well have a very brief paragraph on the excellent benefits or excellent features of the property, where it's located, and then dot points on the other things like ducted aircon, you know, intercom system, or, you know, executive, whatever, on 3 different levels, 6 lounge rooms, whatever. You're better off dot pointing those, because people go through volume when they're looking at rentals. They're looking at 10, they're looking at 20. You know what I mean? Like, you want your information to be ready, you want it to be easy, you want it to be easy to read. The more fluff you have in there, the more people go, yep, I don't want to read to the end, and they've missed the important things. And that goes back to the photos. If your photos show all of the great points of the house, the writing really can be anything. No, I don't think too many photos is, yeah. A floor plan will make people walk in the door more than your words again. So there's like photos, floor plan, words are the last priority in your advertising, basically. So yeah, with your floor plan, even if you don't have a professional one, I did one in PowerPoint. Actually, I can show you my floor plan for Ashton Terrace. It was not great, but my own floor plans, because I knew that it mattered to the rooming accommodation people what property they were going to rent. So I put a little red box. Say, for example, I'm renting bedroom 1. I put a little red box around there, because the emails I would get is it $250 for the apartment? No, it's not. So if you have a little red outline, like, it doesn't have measurements on it because I don't have, but it gives you an idea, like, you know, where it's situated, sort of the general layout, you know, this bedroom opens to the bathroom, this is, you know, off the kitchen, blah, 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 just so people get a general idea of what they're walking into. It gives them a better idea. Their interest level is already at 80–90% if you can provide them a floor plan and amazing photos. You've already sold them, basically. Once they come for the inspection, they're already basically sold on the property. So the photos, what I do, this is just general practice, I've always done it. Front of the house, walk in, first living room, kitchen. So you've got to do it like as if they're walking through the property. It tells a story. The story is, this is the lovely front, this is where you walk in, this is the lovely entrance, the staircase, next is the kitchen, this is the kitchen. You know, you have a general picture of the kitchen, and then you do it from like the opposite angle so they can see what they're looking when they look out of the kitchen. The dining room, then you possibly go to the terrace. Then next you'll go to the master bedroom, then the ensuite, then you'll go bedroom, bathroom, then you go outside. The other thing I'd love to do is lifestyle photos. For some reason, they seem to help a lot, especially for people that are interstate, students not familiar with the area. I literally, say for example, off the Ascot Terrace in Toowong, I have a picture of Toowong Village, I have a picture of Milton train station, I have a picture of St. Lucia University. I have a picture of like basically how far it is to the city, you know, walking distance. You need to basically create a story, whether it's for sale or for rent. The situation, I guess, is the same. You want them to imagine themselves living in that property. So if you're providing a really nice story by photos, by writing, then they're like, oh, I have blogs with you. This looks really nice. Even if, so this is how you present it basically. So your reviews and feedback. This basically gets you to the top of Google. If someone Googles property management Brisbane, your reviews and feedback that you get from people is worth more than the 1,000 flyers that you put in letterboxes that nobody cares about. So I personally get my friends and family to review me on Facebook, even if they haven't, taken on my services, because that is going to boost you above the people, say, like Bell Place, McGrath. If you actually Google them, they're like 3.7 out of 5, 100 reviews. But if you have 10 reviews that are all 5 stars, you're going to rate higher than they are on Facebook, on Google. So your reviews are so important on both Google and Facebook, 2 separate platforms. You need to have, say, someone reviews you on Facebook, send them a link to review you on Google. They're so important, both of those. You want to be known. This is people vouching for how good you are. Without this, you are who knows who you are. You know what I mean? So even if you have 10 reviews and they're all 5, it's better than having none. Basically, in this day and age, like before I go to a restaurant, I read the reviews. I'm not going to go and spend $200 on dinner if everyone said they're horrible. Same with property management. You want to at least have a couple of good reviews on it that someone to vouch that you're a good agent. Maintain a blog and social media pages. Like I was saying before, my Oxbridge social media page not only has what I rented and how many days, and that I increased the rent by $50. You also have best plants to put next to your pool, so the leaves don't fall in. It's an article off Domain, so I follow Domain, I follow realestate.com, I follow a lot of different companies, whether it's financial advising or home decor. All you do is share it to your page and write a little bit. And you can even you can even schedule posts on Facebook. So Monday morning, you're like, Monday I'm going to do a bit of fluff. Tuesday I'm going to do what I rented last week. Wednesday I'm going to do something about the interest rates. Friday I'm going to do what homes I have open on Saturday. And then Saturday you might do a little video of you like doing it open. So you planned your whole week, and you only have to touch it once on that Monday, and you've got the whole week done. So that's what I do. So you want to be saying to know what the hell you're talking about. And if you're doing that on Facebook, on your website, talking about something that's happened during that week where, you've had a success story. People love reading that sort of stuff. Again, it comes back to people realizing that you know what you're talking about. Grow an email database. So your email database is super important as well. A lot of people, however, will junk you very quickly. So again, your amount of marketing versus a bit of fluff versus informational should be, I guess, kind of all even. So the amount of information that people are interested in, plus a bit of fluff to make them feel good, plus you're throwing in there, I'm a freaking great property manager as well. So with your email database, I basically have the same process. So my email database is like an email that has, what we have to rent at the bottom, what we have to sale, an article on from Domain as to the auction clearance rates for Brisbane last weekend, and it'll have like a little spiel about me. I've been in property management and real estate for 10 years. A nice little picture of me, and you send that fortnightly or monthly to your database of landlords, tenants, anyone who's interested. And people will go, oh, look, that place is for rental. Look, they've got staff to sale. We've been thinking about selling. This email is really informational. It's not just marketing. They're not going to junk me because I've just filled it all with, just straight out marketing. If you provide them a little bit of information, a little bit of like nice happy story, then they'll want to read it more often. If you find that with Facebook, you like a page because you like what you're reading. So don't think about it from the other person's perspective. It's all, we've got this to say, we've got this open, we've got this to say, we've got this sold. You're kind of like, I can go on realestate.com and look it up. People are not going to want to follow you. They'll just jump you straight away. So if you combine basically all of these sort of things, you're creating a front that you're a leader in the industry. That's what you're trying to do, is make people listen to you, really. Any questions?
No.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What questions would you like? The deal.
Yeah.
This is it here. You guys. Yeah. With the 90-10, you are basically it. There's a hit. So, the 60-40 agent is responsible for viewings, entry, periodic, and then Oxbridge manages monitors, maintenance, and arrears. So you're yeah, so I guess Oxbridge maintain the basic administration section. It's 90-10, you are it really, and you technically utilize assets to the trust account, I guess is what you can say. Yes. But you manage everything of the daily running for that 90-10. 60-40, Oxbridge takes on a few of those monotonous things that take a bit of time, aka arrears. They can take a bit of time to go through your portfolio, send people 40 notices, SMS, and all that sort of thing. That can be like a 2 or 3 hour daily thing. So yeah, it depends. Once you get to a certain amount of properties, the 60-40 will work better for you than the 90-10. So once you get to about 100 properties and it becomes bigger than you can manage and you just want to look at growth, 60-40 is your option. But if you want to be a control freak and look after everything yourself, and you're happy to do that, and just utilize Oxbridge for the ticket search and basically the trust account, and you want to receive 90% of your income, then that's the 90-10. Because the best way to explain it. Then you've got your 1090. I don't know who does that. 1090 is pretty much and you received your residual income. Yes. Yeah, so if you did it at the end of the day want to sell it, you can. I guess it's like basically the whole Oxbridge end of the day model is so you can build a rent roll and just focus on the building, get to a point where you might want to sell. Yeah. Well, Lyndsey just mentioned before she sold 40 properties. So generally, the rent roll is $2 for every $1 is what the rent roll will sell for. The things that they look at are rent arrears, the distance between each property, how many properties each landlord owns. I think that's it. Oh, and I guess the income. Yeah, and then the income of each property too. Yeah. So there's a few factors that come into how brokers actually put a price figure on rental rolls. But you can, if you go on to Real Estate Dynamics, I believe. So I have constant email coming through because I like to know. If I built 100 properties in this area, they're all in one apartment building. It's probably going to be worth about this much. So you can contact the broker and they can evaluate it for you. But yeah, you could have 20 properties. The rent could be $1,000 a week per property, and that could be worth quite a lot of money. So it's really, yeah. And then again, and also on the management fee per property too. Depends how much they'll price it at. They've got a high management fee. They're all, you know, within 10K radius. You've got 0 rent arrears. They're, you know, $600 plus. That's where the goal is. That would be worth a lot. But if you're buying a rent roll, you have to be extremely, extremely, extremely careful. I wouldn't recommend it. The amount of rent rolls that I've had to integrate into businesses and landlords walking away and the trouble that comes with, that's basically why people sell rent rolls. Either because they don't want to be part of property management anymore, or they're giving you just selling the problems to you. If your background isn't property management and you're not up to date with all of the legislation and all of the rules and all of the processes, 60/40 will just cover CYA, cover your land.
Pretty much, yeah.
I want to know.
Outsource. Yeah. But yeah, if you're not entirely sure on how to do everything correctly, 60/40 is safe. Yeah. To do a full report for a 5-bedroom house can take you half a day. Think about it, how many properties could you prospect in that half a day? So you've got to think about it, is money is time, or time is money, sorry. So if you're out on the road going like ding, 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 ding to like all these routines and doing all it, you know what I mean? Your work is better used in office prospecting if you can outsource the things that take the most, and there's no shortcuts, unfortunately. So she could, however, do 4 to book a day, but those 4 could be 4 different agencies. I don't think they necessarily have to be the same agency. Like if she's got 4 routine inspections to do, it has to be the same thing. Yeah, if you're doing the 60/40, you pretty much don't have to worry about that. Support will do it for you, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly that. So this is the easy part. Describing a scratch on a wall times 100 walls is not the easy part. I don't think I've ever heard landlords that even want to see the entry condition report unless they're really, really anal and they want to have a copy. Very rarely. I don't. Not unless the situation comes up. They don't generally ask for one. Yeah, no, because sometimes you're opening yourself up to trouble if you give them too much information. The lease. Oh, your statement, yeah. Oh, routine inspection, yeah. So generally, I've just found giving landlords too much information and having them like dictate that you've called a wall cream and they say it's white, nightmare. Just give them what they need when they ask. Just seems to be easier to deal with. Then because then you start to get micromanaging, and then if someone wants you to adjust a report, that's another half a day gone before you know it. But if there's like major occurrences, every wall's damaged or whatnot, then you provide your transparency at that point. Yeah. But most landlords, because they're paying for you to manage the property, they're happy to have it outside, out of mind. Yeah. I guess it depends on the landlord too.
Lovely.
All right, we're done.
Perfect. So,
Yeah.